Hello, welcome to this video about preparing for a difficult conversation, the exercise, the practice for preparing for a difficult conversation. And then you can use it either as I'm going to demonstrate it now as journaling, and so you can do that kind of thing on your own in the wild when you're preparing for a difficult conversation. So the difficult conversation map has three parts. It's the first empathy for in this case, in the person doing the journaling, for you, empathy for you, and then silent empathy for the person about whom you have judgments, about whom you have these enemy images, as Marshall Rosenberg named these judgments. And then in the third part, it's learn, plan, practice, and you'll find that in a number of these maps. It's the turning back, reflecting upon what you did, what you can learn from that. Is there something to be learned from that? And then often the learning is a desire to do it differently next time. And so you might want to have a plan in place to do that. And that's planning. And then practicing, you might want to practice with your practice partner or journaling or whatever to prepare for the next time so that you'll do it better next time. That's the whole goal here, is a constant improving process of doing it better next time. So in the first, if you're journaling, you can, and I encourage you to press the stop button on this. And so you're first going to empathize with yourself. It's like, what is stirring you up? Is it something that you anticipate this person's going to say, or that you're afraid they're going to say? Is it do you have thoughts about them that you're afraid are going to leak out, is the terminology that I use. Through your body language. And because when you have thoughts about a person, judgmental thoughts, when you have any thoughts, you're going to generate feelings consistent with those thoughts. When you have judgmental thoughts about another person, then you are going to have body experience that is consistent with having that judgment. Even if you don't say the words that are associated with that judgment, your body will leak disdain or resentment or fear or anger or whatever. So that's one of the real benefits of doing this, is so that you can at least start the conversation without telegraphing these kinds of thoughts that tend to disconnect you from yourself and disconnect you from the other person. And you're going to have a lot more influence with another person if you're connected with them. If you have rapport in a meeting with someone, even if you completely disagree with the strategies that they use, if you can maintain rapport, can develop and maintain rapport with them, then you will have much more influence over what they do. They'll be much more inclined to respond to your requests favorably if you have that kind of rapport developed. So that's the idea behind preparing in this particular way, is to diffuse those enemy images and transform those judgments. Now, this is not getting rid of your critical faculties again about their strategies. You don't like their strategies, and you may well tell them you don't like their strategies, but you want to practice how to communicate in a way that they're more likely to hear what you are saying and will be more amenable to your request, and to then getting into a dialogue with you, a mediation, if you will, about how to meet their needs, what the needs they're seeking to meet with their strategies that you don't like, and what needs you want met, and the strategies that you think might work to meet your needs and to meet their needs. So this is the beginning of that. So this is a journaling exercise, and first you're going to empathize with yourself. You can use the 4 components, or the 4 observation, feeling, need, request, as a way of kind of giving you a structure for this journaling exercise. And I started with observation. What is it that's prompting you or engaging you, or that your mind is drawn to? Is it, and just write it down. And then when you're shifting to the feelings, when you think about whatever it is that is stimulating you, and you've differentiated between the observation and the judgment's likely to be, this guy's a jerk. Or if you're inside my head, a lot worse than that. But that's the judgment. What do they say or do that you're building that judgment upon? Oh, when he acts that way towards this, this person or that person, or to me, I have this interpretation of him as a jerk, or whatever your judgment is. So that's the observation. Then when I bring that to mind, when I bring the observation to mind, how do I feel in the present moment about this person and their conduct, whatever the observation is? And then what need of mine is not met? Because the feeling is likely to be a feeling that is indication of a need not met. That's why I have a judgment of this person. So I'm trying to get at the need. So if I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, what might be the need that is not met? The nonverbal part of myself is identifying a need not met and communicating it to you through these intrusive thoughts, and is communicating with you through when you see when you bring to mind the observation that you feel whatever you feel, and then you go, okay, what is this need that is not met? And this is a way of providing congruence between the nonverbal part of yourself and conscious awareness. So then, do you have any request of this person? The request is in parentheses. You don't necessarily need to focus on the request. But so continue to do the empathy, because there may be more than one observation. So work your way through your journal until you feel like done, complete, full, some kind of metaphor like this. And you'll know whether you're full is the test of it is, when can you focus on the other person without then going back into your judgments about them. So you can try that. And if you come back, we'll come back and give, more empathy, journal your empathy, self-empathy, and then try going back to the other person. Then what you want to do with them is do the same 4 components with regard to them. What is it that they may be reacting to? What is the observation that they are observing and experiencing that is at the driver of some of their conduct that you don't like? And so then, and how might they be feeling when they're engaged in this, when they said what you found difficult, or when you guess or you're afraid that they might say to you? What do you think they're feeling, and what do you think their need might be to generate that kind of whatever they're going to say or do? And this is, you don't know, this is not about being sure, this is about opening up the possibility of understanding this person at the need level, at this universal. We all have these needs, and so it is a way of getting a sense of another person that is hugely powerful, if you can guess what needs, or if you can actually learn by speaking with them, what needs they're seeking to meet by the conduct they're engaged in. Because most of the time we talk in metaphors and similes and images and stories, and we often have to have a similar background to understand, really, to get a sense of what the person's saying. It doesn't work cross-culturally very well, particularly if you're translating languages. And whereas needs, everybody has these needs. And it is kind of a universal translator that you can communicate across cultures and across language, across, you know, groups within cultures, since everybody has these needs. So if you can guess what their needs are, it'll often open up, you'll have a sense of opening or spaciousness, or your heart softens, or you feel your shoulders drop, your face relax. There are all of these metaphors and these physiological responses that people try to communicate to others their experience. And you've probably heard some of these. So do that until you've experienced that. Go back and forth between step 1 and step 2 as you need, if you need more empathy. And then when you are complete with this other person, particularly after you've had one of these opening experiences, then go to, you know, part 3, step 3, learn, plan, practice. So you can pause now and begin to do your reflection here. And one way to start is, how do you feel now as compared to how do you feel before you started journaling? And that's just to give you a starting point. It's not particularly important in and of itself, but from that you can then begin to follow trails and to get the mind started on, what did I learn from doing all of that? What is I'm engaged in? And often the things that pop to mind are things like, let me prepare, or you know, I want to make sure and, you know, sort of set the stage for this conversation that we're going to have, if you already have one planned, or if you're planning to plan one. So you can do all of those kinds of things. Detailed planning ahead of time, you can prepare, you can do a team, you can work with your team to work with you, depending on, you know, how high the stakes are. You could prepare for weeks for a conversation. I mean, effectively, that's what presidential candidates in the United States do when they prepare for these debates, is they're having a conversation and they prepare for it. They're having a conversation with the voters. So they prepare for that. Okay, learn, plan, practice, and we'll have videos on practice. So that's it. Thank you for participating, and I look forward to being with you on the next video. Bye-bye.